Thank you on that. I'll go straight into the third question by Tianan Tanaka, again from SLA class of 2023. And the question is, Professor, you say that for us to rise up, we must control our resources. What is your take on teaching that once I received that, it's not about your resources, but how you use them? And also, how can we as young people efficiently use our resources? I hope you got the question.
Yes, so what I was trying to get at is to say, as young people, don't go into primary production thinking, well, I'll produce this gold, I'll produce this maize, I'll produce this soybean, I'll produce this cocoa, and then I'll figure out where to sell it. And hopefully I get a foreign buyer so that I can be paid in foreign currency. What I'm saying is, you need people amongst yourselves and government who say, how do we build the entire industry for soybean, for cocoa, it doesn't matter what it is. If you don't have the line of sight, we primary production into immediate aggregation and processing locally, into immediate consumption of our goods and services locally, you will still be a weak society, because China and the United States are global superpowers, not because they export to everybody. It's because they have the largest domestic markets in the world. They can consume all their manufactured products. And export is the luxury that makes them superpowers. But if you have a weak domestic manufacturing, weak demand for your own manufactured goods, you are just exporting, then you're going to be like Brazil and South Africa, be able to manufacture aeroplane, but you are still a poor country. You are still in a highly unemployed people. The social unrest is still massive. It's a middle income trap. You don't get out of it. I think I can't, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Professor, for that response. There is a question from Buse, one of the students from Bindura University of Science Education. It is pertaining to the innovation hubs and innovation ecosystems. It says, what are the possible solutions that may be put forward to deal with the challenges associated with innovation ecosystems? I think you mentioned the challenges with these innovation hubs that we have started yet. So what are the possible solutions to overcome those challenges?
So the main reason why the innovation hubs and the innovation ecosystem as a whole is struggling mainly because we are not manufacturing ourselves. So you get a brilliant ideas, and I've seen incredible ideas from young people. No market, no investors. You know, there's so many hindrances because there is no serious industrial strategy which picks people up from an idea all the way to a startup and all the way through to a successful business. It is easier when you have an industrializing society, not one which itself is a service industry and importing trinkets and products from elsewhere, because it's so easy for those industries to even kill startups. They can flood the market, the borders are porous, you're importing almost everything, but as you import it, you're not even going through the proper customs system. So the product looks cheaper or more competitive than it really is. So we need governments who are serious about, if we restrict importation of this product, it means we have to be sure we're supporting this industry from primary production to manufacturing to distribution, all the way to consumption. But no, you can have legislation trying to protect a local industry, but no measures in place to ensure that when young people have these innovations and startups, they can actually take their product all the way through to a growing domestic market. That's what the problem is. And I'm chairman myself of Great Zimbabwe University, and I've seen painful, brilliant ideas, brilliant products, We graduate our students and they've been through the innovation process. They see a little bit of industrialization, but guess what? When they graduate and go out there, they're still facing the real world. They still have to take another 2 to 3 years to find out that they still are not ready for the real world. Because you may have been trained in engineering, but by the 3rd year of not finding a job in engineering, you find yourself now in horticulture, because that's where the opportunity is. So our education system still needs to actually prepare young people much more flexibly, make them greater thinker-doer, so that they can flexibly use their education to move from one sector to another, not to be stuck in one sector which you were trained and yet you're not even prepared for it. There are not even jobs there.
Thank you, Professor Rukuni, for that response. I concur with you on how we need to transition. And following up on the question on transition, there's Luke Mungwe from NAST. The question was, how do we transition from just having SMEs that are focused on small-scale production to full-on mass manufacturing and production, considering the capital base and the fact that most of the current SMEs are due to individuals are just looking for their next meal, not necessarily economic development of the continent. This is something I attest to. We probably have as many entrepreneurs who are entrepreneurs, not because they see a need that they need to satisfy, but because it's the jobs that they can actually do. So how do we transition from that mentality and from that state into a full-on mass manufacturing and go through the phases you have stated in your presentation?
Well, in my opinion, the way to do it is, to start with, don't confuse economies of scale with economies of size, you see. Economies of scale happen when many thousands of small enterprises are organized in such a way that they add up to a big industry. That's economies of scale. The problem is when you have small businesses growing, but they are not organized or connected into one big industry, then you got a problem. So small businesses is not a problem. It's being able to connect them, and once, okay, they may be competing at one level, but at another level, they're working together as one industry, which is growing, the growing market share. So at the end of it all, Africa is better off with big industries, but created through thousands upon thousands of small businesses that aggregate into big. Then when we become serious upper middle income countries, majority of our population is now in the middle classes, then the really big companies come through. All these countries with huge companies, United States, China, Russia, did not start with the big businesses, then small ones came. You start building an industry, bottom up. Economies of size only come in when you're a fully industrialized country. Then economies of size kick in, bigger firms, bigger farms become more efficient than smaller ones. But when the majority of your people are rural or unemployed, doesn't work. Economies of size don't kick in, don't help you. Economies of scale are what you need. Thousands upon thousands of small farmers, thousands upon thousands of small businesses organized into one business that aggregates and operates with the full policy environment, which makes it possible to get support from your government. Good policy environment, good support from the financial services sectors, business that understand and able to finance this thing, because finance is the blood. It's like your body, your blood circulates. That's what money is. That's what it says, to circulate. So all businesses which are not organized in a way that you are straight through to manufacturing and distribution, you are outside the blood distribution system. You are going to die because you're only supplying Barim Sika, Sakuva. You cannot create a big industry that way. Yeah.